So today, our program, hybrid program again, we have people here in Bard Hall, is about downsizing and getting rid of things of that are special sentimental value.
The next step in our program is for Mary Ann to give us a spiritual reading.
All right. Would you like me to light a candle also?
Yes.
All right. It's always a challenge to see if these candles actually work. All right. Today I'm lighting a candle with the hopes of reflection and gained wisdom. Well, it's rather ironic that I am doing this lead-in to decluttering because right now my son, his wife, and their 3 children are visiting, 5 people. I get an email earlier this week from my son who says, "Mom, I don't want to be insulting, but I know how you tend to do decluttering all around the house. And do you have 5 towels for us?" Well, I had to laugh at that, thinking, oh my God, he thinks I'm down to where there's not even 5 towels in the house. And I assured him that yes, we had 5 towels. So anyways, that was kind of an irony that this happens earlier this week. I actually went on the internet and I was curious whether there would be quotes about decluttering, simplifying your life. And oh my goodness, hundreds of them. It just astounded me. So I brought it down to 1 minute and 10 seconds of different clutter quotes that resonated with me. So there will be 8 of these quotes. So here's the first. Collect moments, not things. The second quote. Less stuff means less to clean, less to organize, less to store, less mess. Third quote. If you're not using stuff in your home, get rid of it. You're not going to start using it more by shoving it in a closet. It's easy to get rid of things when there's an obvious reason for doing so. It's much more difficult to get rid of things when there's no compelling reason. Fifth quote. When we clean up our clutter and the incompletes in our home, it allows us now to have space for the good things and good energy. Sixth quote. If you want to fly, give up everything that weighs you down. Seventh, the most important things in life are not things. And the last quote, the space in which we live should be for the person we are becoming now, not for the person we were in the past. So those are the 8 quotes, and I hope some of them resonated with you.
Okay, well, thank you, Mary Ann, for your spiritual reading. And we now will begin the program. Our first speaker is Haley Zamora, who will tell us about the company she works for and what they do and the important things about specializing in downsizing. We'll also have, following Haley, we'll have Barbara Davenport, one of our own, who is going to talk further about the subject, and especially about items of sentimental value. So, Haley.
Thank you. I think she said everything I was going to say in my presentation. So we're good. She gave us some good things to think about. John, are you pulling up the PowerPoint? Are you
ready to start?
Yes, thank you. Can you go to the next slide, please? So my name is Haley Zamora, and myself and my mom, we own Next Phase Move Assistance. It's a senior downsizing and moving business, and we've been around since 2011. Higher? Okay. So we are the only A+ accredited company, senior downsizing company, or senior move management company here in San Diego. And we basically, our whole mission is to assist older adults in whatever transition is taking place. So whether they're moving, downsizing, moving to a smaller home, condo, or senior living community, we help with all the logistics that come with that process. So here is an actual client's cow collection. And I think a lot of us have these collections that might be collecting dust at this point, but it's something that maybe we loved in the past and that our kids, grandkids have given us cows for every occasion, you know, for the last 30 years. So we really focus on, you know, helping to go through those things that we're not using, or maybe we don't value as much as we used to. And a quote on here is, happiness is a place between too much and too little. So when we start working with our clients, the first step is really sorting, or in the downsize process. And when we're working with a client, they're up against a deadline typically. So maybe their house is already in escrow when they call us and they say, I have a month to get all of this done and move to my new place. How am I going to do all this? And what they're really focused on in that moment is all of this stuff and the noise and what they're going to do with it. It's not looking at what they really value at this point, what they want to take with them, what they hold dear. So we really try to have people focus on the things that they love, so they're able to bring those items with them and have a home that feels like a new home, that feels like home. Instead of throwing things away, or what I need to get rid of, or I have this big loss. And I know that she's going to be speaking more about the emotional aspects of downsizing. So we work with them to create a wish list, and these are all of the items that they'd love to see in their new home. So this is a floor plan that we created for one of our clients that moved to Covenant Living of Mount Miguel in Spring Valley. So this is a 2-bedroom unit. She was able to bring quite a bit of furniture, actually, as you can see. And we measure the home and the items in the home that they want to take. And then we measure the apartment that they're going to be moving into. So we know exactly what's going to fit. And maybe not everything on that wish list is going to fit into that new unit, but perhaps we can use B instead of A and switch a few things around so that the client still feels like they have everything that they love, but it's still a safe, functional place. So what I really help with as the director of operations is I do the background logistics. So we get an estimate from a moving company and then we present it to the client so they're able to contract. So basically we're just taking that weight off where they're not having to deal with a whole bunch of different vendors. And we work in all different ways. So we don't have to provide all of these things. Sometimes somebody's already figured out their own floor plan and we just kind of double check. Sometimes, you know, we have adult children that are helping with the process and they want to unpack their mom or dad. And that's totally fine. We just kind of come in where we're needed and help with those bits and pieces. So we get an estimate from the moving company, presented to the client. Sometimes our clients might have a big built-in desk where they currently live, or a really large dining table. So we help with picking out some items that'll fit in the new space and help them with the ordering process or whatever they need. Handyman services is also something that we get together because furniture for assembly, or perhaps earthquake straps that need to be put on a tall piece of furniture, but really anything that has to do with the move and transition, we're there to help with. So our team of ladies comes in and we do the packing for all of our clients. As you can see here, this is a job that we were on and we were packing up a kitchen. So we come and we bring all the boxes of materials. So again, just streamlining that process for our clients. And these are some clients, a linen closet of a client and also a bedroom. And they had some really fun, interesting stuff, but everything is full service. As you can see, we do all of the unpacking and the placement, and the art is hung and everything is done. So we are there to oversee the movers on load and unload, the placement of all the furniture, the vendors that need to be coordinated, etc. And we make sure that our clients have, again, just a safe, beautiful place that they can call home, where they're recognizing, you know, their things. It feels comfortable. They're able to walk in and go to bed if they want, if they're tired after all this process. Get into their kitchen, their food's in the fridge, everything is ready to be used, it's ready to go. And actually a lot of our clients, we enjoy it to a certain degree, but they cry when they come in because they're so happy and relieved. They've been so stressed out, especially if they are selling their home at the same time. That's a lot going on, and a lot of, you know, pieces are moving. They're having to make tons of decisions. So you can just see it in their body. They're just, okay, I can start to see myself living here now, and it's going to be okay. And I can see all my stuff and it looks beautiful. So like I said, a lot of the clients that we work with are selling their homes. So we work with them to clear the estate as well. So we work with our clients on clearing their estates as well. A lot of the times we will work with a hauler. We have a few favorites that we work with, and they're able to take the trash out of the home, which everybody has trash, donations, perhaps things to consignment if that's appropriate. And if the person in the situation warrants it, then we will match them with an estate sale company if that is a better solution for clearing the house and there's enough time. So you can go to the next, please. So there's a quote that we really like: you can't reach for anything new with your hands full of yesterday's stuff. So, you know, there's new opportunities in moving to a new community, and maybe, you know, a lot of our clients too might have lost a spouse. They might be dealing with some physical limitations that, you know, are very frustrating, and they might be living in a situation that can be isolating. So just being able to have them move to a new community, be a part of something, be a part of activities, you know, get out more and not be weighed down by all of this stuff. You know, we often see clients in the communities because we work in the same communities again and again. And just the new lease on life and the freeness that we see in them is great. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about maybe you are not quite ready yet to make that transition. Maybe it's years off, but a few things that we've noticed, you know, maybe you're just looking to unload a little bit and lighten things up in your home. So a few things that we've noticed with donation centers in general, and just pickups and donations, things have changed a little bit over COVID, where the pickups are not as fast as they used to be, just because of lack of staff, I think, and the increase of things that people were donating. It just became overwhelming to some of these nonprofits. So what we've seen with nonprofits such as AMVETS and Habitat for Humanity, they are now partnering with third-party services that you can pay a fee to have come and pick up your stuff in a shorter time frame. I think they say within about 72 hours. That third-party company will navigate stairs. They will do some disassembling of pieces if they need to be brought down or brought out. So they're not as picky. Sometimes, you know, we see drivers that come in from nonprofits and they won't take everything. It's up to them to make that final call. So, you know, we say start early, keep it up, take a little box or a bag at a time. If you have large pieces that are in good condition, then definitely give these nonprofits a call. We're all familiar, I think, with AMVETS and Salvation Army and Goodwill and kind of the bigger ones, but I just wanted to highlight a few smaller nonprofits or organizations that you can donate to. And I have some printouts here. Yeah. So one that I wanted to highlight is San Diego Futures Foundation. I'm not sure if you've heard of them before, but they're a foundation. They refurbish computers and different electronics for low-income kids and families and nonprofits. So they'll take your laptop that might be sitting around that doesn't work anymore, that you're not using, maybe you replaced it. Seems like we all have cell phones sitting around and computers and old electronics that we're not using. They're a good place to donate to. Safari Seconds is a thrift store run by the Alliance for African Assistance. They're on El Cajon Boulevard. We like to donate to them. They were able to accept a lot during COVID when it was difficult. But we do have our hauler drop off to them. So again, with these smaller nonprofits, typically you have to call ahead, go online, fill out what you want to donate, and then get that acceptance before you take it. I'm not talking about a little box of things, I'm talking about larger donations. But they are able to match up the donations that they receive with the families that they're working with directly. So it's nice to see that instant connection of the good that your things that you're no longer using can do for somebody that doesn't have anything. And they also provide job training and other good works with refugee groups. So I just gave everybody a list. You can look over and just some advice about, reaching out to them if you have certain types of donations. But I'll be here for questions at the end. That's it from me. Thank you.
Okay. But first, thank you, Haley.
Yeah,
You've
thank
given us a lot to think about and covered a lot of ground and given us some very useful tools. I appreciate what you've had to say. I'm going to shift gears a little bit and pull back to perhaps the 10,000 feet view, and I'm calling this spiritual aspects of decluttering. Don't worry, I ain't gonna get no religious on you, but.
Barbara, we can't hear you.
Oh,
Speak up.
Oh, okay. Better? Is this better? Okay. I want to start with a poem. This is Dory Lau, near Scoop of Alaska, 70. She's a poet who, she wrote this poem last year as she was retiring from teaching at North Carolina State and planning to move to California with her husband. She writes, "It's autumn and we're getting rid of books, getting ready to retire, to move to someplace smaller, more manageable. We're living in reverse, age-proof the new house, nothing on the floors to trip over, no hindrances to the slowed mechanisms of our bodies. A small table for two. Our world is shrinking, our closets mostly empty. Gone the tight skirts and the dancing shoes, the bells and the whistles. Now, when someone comes to visit and admires our complete works of Shakespeare, the hawk feather in the open dictionary, the iron angel on the shelf, we say, take them." This is the most important time of all, the age of divestment. Knowing what we leave behind is like the fragrance of blossoming trees that grows stronger after you've passed them. Breathing them in for a moment before breathing them out. An ordinary Tuesday when one of you says, "I dare you," and the other just laughs. When Joan asked me to talk about decluttering, Benita and I were in the thick of a kitchen remodel. Noise and dust and nothing where it used to be, and much too much stuff. We've been in our house for 24 years. I mean, that's since the last century. and nothing really had changed much in the kitchen in all that time. A lot of stuff had accrued. So I've been privileged recently, or sentenced, to doing some serious spiritual work about decluttering. I want to share with you a few ideas that have been helpful to me and that I hope might be useful to you. When we even think about decluttering, we step into complicated emotional territory. For most of us, the prospect of sorting and culling and organizing our stuff makes us uncomfortable, something we do our best to avoid. What I hope we can do today is to get under the hood, to understand a little bit more what this work means to us, what we feel when we stare at that pile of stuff in the garage, why it's so hard to send those things to Goodwill. Here are some thoughts. Whatever we can call it, culling or decluttering or divestment, it's important to recognize that what we're talking about is loss. And it's a self-imposed loss. When we go to work on our closets and our shelves and our storage units, we're in the business of intentionally imposing losses on ourselves. We do it because we have to, and we do it with the hope that some good will come of the work. At minimum, some freed up space. And at best, a growing recognition of where we are in our lives, in our age of divestment that Dorian Law called the most important time of all. How we deal with our losses and our recognitions, whether we hold ourselves to, whether we allow ourselves to know our feelings, whether we can hold ourselves and our partners tenderly in the face of our disinvestment, not only of possessions, but also of all the eras in our life that will not come again. How we do all these complicated tasks will shape how we go. Okay, Miss Betty Davis had it right. She said, old age is not for sissies. And let me be clear, not every act of cleaning out and sorting and letting go is a matter of profound loss. Some of it is just a flat out relief. And some of it is wonderment, as in, why in the world have I let this thing hang around for 40 years? But I think that being aware of the feelings that come up when you start doing this kind of divestment puts us in a better position to handle those feelings when they inevitably do. I want to tell you a story about Marie Kondo. She's the Japanese woman who made quite a splash a few years ago with a book about decluttering, and she's usually seen as almost like a decluttering Nazi, like an extreme shedding of objects. I watched a documentary about her and her work. When she entered the house of a client for the first time, she got down and knelt on the floor in the hallway, on her knees, then extended her hands so it was such a deep bow that her head actually touched the floor. And this was an act of profound respect and humility. She was conveying a sense of respect and humility, not only to her clients, but to their house and all their possessions. And I thought, gee, that attitude of respect and humility is a very wise place from which to begin to make decisions about what we'll keep and what we'll say goodbye to. I think it's useful to think about our houses as our homes as museums of our lives. All those books and clothes and photos of ourselves and our pets and our children and our loved ones, and the people and the electronics and the lampshades and everything else that fill our houses are the props and tools in the drama of our lives, past and present. So if our homes are the museums of our lives, then we are the curators. Our possessions remind us of who we've been, and many of them have played a part in who we've become. But if we're the curators, and like all museums, we don't have unlimited space, we need to take a hard look at what needs to stay and what must go. And letting go of these props and tools requires us to recognize that there are eras in our life that will not come again. Dorian Law says, gone the tight skirts and the dancing shoes. I mean, we all got some of that stuff. That I had a pair of shin guards from my soccer playing days. But I don't need shin guards. But they were, you know, I had a deep attachment to them. So we're looking at loss, and that's hard work, and it's ongoing work. And it's work that should not be rushed. You need to pay attention to your staying power, both physical and emotional. And to be aware when you need to back off for a while. Haley advised starting early, and I think I absolutely agree with her. This is the job. You don't want it to extend for the rest of your life, but you need some time for this. And there's several questions we can ask ourselves when we start the work of culling. Why are we doing this? What do we want to accomplish? Maybe we're moving to another smaller space. Maybe we need the space for another purpose of our own. Someone may have died or moved out, or someone may be moving in. What we can keep has a lot to do with just how much space we have. And the answers to these questions, whatever they are, all have feelings attached. If we hope to be comfortable with the decisions we make, we need to become aware of those feelings, hear them inside our own heads, and probably talk about them with someone. Are you doing this work alone or with a partner? If you're doing it by yourself, it's all on you, but you get to make all the decisions and maybe do all the schlepping too. If you're doing it with a partner, then there are two people's needs and two sets of ideas about what matters. And the one thing you can certainly count on is that you won't see eye to eye on everything. Again, more spiritual work, more need for patience and flexibility and awareness of both people's feelings. How much time do you have? This kind of work will feel better and go more smoothly if you can pace yourself. And again, it's just wise to get started before you have to and take the time to take it in chunks with rest and breathers in between. Another question, what are the essential reminders? Which things do we absolutely need to keep? And which, even though we love them, all those cows, so valued, can we part with? And everybody's answers to this question are going to be different. A few years ago, I did a pretty vigorous culling of my bookshelves. The books that I kept were the books that I felt had shaped me professionally and personally. That amounted to about 40% of the books. The other 60% ended up over here in the book. I have no illusions about those 40% that I kept. They're sitting on my shelves. There's some of them I may never open again, but it matters to me that they're there on my shelves. I need them there. And I think doing that kind of thinking, there's some things, I mean, those shin guards eventually went, but there's some things for each of us. We simply know that we need them in our presence. And I think that has to be honored and respected. One size does not fit all. I was talking to a friend about culling my bookshelves, and she said, every book I take off my shelves, it feels like I'm drowning a puppy. And on the other hand, she has made some exquisite photograph albums of a lifetime of photos and old family photos and everything. My photos are stuck in a couple of boxes. So what each person needs to think out what they need and what's non-negotiable and what, even if it's wrenching, could be parted with. And I gotta say, those 60% of books that went over to the book room, maybe one or two, I thought, gee, I wish I still had that. But no, there's some bookstore will sell it to me if I need it that badly. I'm going to give the last word to an expert in feelings and decluttering from the 13th century. The Persian poet Rumi uses the metaphor of a guest house to describe the hard work of paying attention to feelings and the gain that can come from doing that. This is Rumi. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness, Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes because each has been sent as a guide from the beyond. So here we are in the age of divestment. We can't make it painless, but if we can recognize our feelings and our partners as they come up and give them a respectful hearing, we're taking an important step towards making a better future for ourselves. There is a wealth of life experience and wisdom in this room and on that screen. And I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara and Haley. That was lovely.